Hello there. I'm very excited to do eighth episode, Michelle. Eighth episode of live Q&A, how time flies when we're having fun. I'm here with Michelle, my Chief of Staff, Mike, Head of Photography, and very excited to talk to you all today. So quite a lot to get through today, and it's all really cool stuff. The other day I was watching a film with my son. My son's name is Jude, after the Beatles. We'll get to that later. And he suggested we watched a movie called Sicario. I hadn't seen it. I was always aware of the poster. I always liked the graphics, but I never actually got to see the movie. And as I was watching it, I realized it's starring Benicio del Toro, Josh Brolin, and Denis de Villeneuve directed it. So I recently worked with Denis in, where was it, Palm Springs Film Festival? And he was a really, really nice guy. So Mike, can you show the picture of our film director?
Yeah.
Where is it? Yeah, there we go. There we go. And he was so gentle. We were at the Palm Springs Film Festival, and he was. We were surrounded by chaos and celebrity ego and publicists going crazy. And this man was just a gentle soul, very patient, very curious about my process. He was very humble. And so I took this really nice picture of him with his eyes gently closed. He's wearing tuxedo because it was a big award ceremony. And it was just a quiet moment in that chaos. And it reminded me, watching this movie, which is really great, by the way, there are some visuals in it that just blew me away. Can you show the Josh Brolin picture?
Absolutely.
Years ago, I took a picture of Josh Brolin. Long time ago. I don't even remember when it was. He was such a sweet guy. And you can see, again, it's another moment of a quiet connection I had with someone who's really an amazing actor. And we took this picture, and he's almost sort of folding into himself. And we got on very well, actually. And one of my biggest regrets, I don't really like to socialize in the business that much. I'm quite a homebody in my time off, which is very rare. So a great night for me is just watching TV or watching a great movie with my family, all curled up on the sofa. But I got on really well with Josh, and we said, let's have dinner together. We just had a natural connection, as sometimes happens. And I regret not following it up. It's not that I chose not to, it's just we both got really busy. And it would have been really nice to become his friend, actually. I really respect him as an actor. So then I was thinking the other day, what can I talk about to kick things off today? And watching this movie, obviously one of the main stars is Benicio del Toro. So I photographed him a long time ago, and he's in my first book, which is this book, Platon's Republic. Can you see that okay? And let me see if I can find the page. Michelle kindly marked the page. Let's see. Oh yeah. So I did some pictures of him in the studio, which are these pictures. You see that? And there's this really, I mean, look at his hair, man. It's incredible. And then there's this other picture of him standing, smoking a cigarette, looking totally nonchalant, very macho. Has a quiet power, this man. And then we went up on the roof. Can you hear me okay? Sounds all right, Mike? All right. And then we went up on the roof, and as the sun was going down, we did this in LA, in Hollywood. I climbed up on the old studio roof and took this picture of him curled up, and I did this with my Leicas. I should really shoot more Leica pictures after shoots.
Some of my favorites.
I used to do it all the time. I would do a formal sitting, in a studio environment, and then I would borrow my subject for like 5 extra minutes when everyone's packing up and take them into a doorway or on a roof or out on the streets and just shoot something almost anti-studio, rough, raw, available light always, never lit. Sometimes light sort of beaming straight into the camera so it distorts with flare. And I miss doing that. So anyway, at the back of the book, I was trying to remember what happened on set. And at the back of this book are all my excerpts from diaries. I always used to keep a diary. And I thought it'd be quite, you can see how I did it. I did this sort of Robert Rauschenberg-esque kind of collage, all handwritten, scrappy bits of paper. I remember my publisher was a bit unsure that we should do this because it's not printed matter and you can't translate it into different languages, but there's something really tactile about it being handwritten. So I wrote here, oh, it's got the date, Benicio del Toro, actor, Los Angeles, 2002. That shows how old I am. Here I wrote, Benicio is a man's man, a modern-day Robert Mitchum. He smoked a pack of cigarettes and drank a whole load of Irish coffees. That's, what is that, coffee and whiskey?
Whiskey.
Mixed together. Yeah, I think he had 8, but
oh my gosh.
Don't quote me on that. I was particularly glad that he wouldn't let the hairdresser touch his wild hair. Open quotes, nobody touches the hair, close quotes, he said. I wrote here, a great actor and the epitome of cool. Oh, you can see the picture here. Is that you posting that? Can you post the picture, share it with our friends? It's so cool.
There you go.
Yeah. And you can't even see his face. And I just love that it was golden hour in LA. The stuff movies are made of as the sun's going down and everything turns red and orange. And it was just a perfect moment. So sometimes you've got to embrace just a random moment that's raw, rough and ready. So I think this book is really, it's a nice book, I never look at my books. As soon as I've finished one, we've lived it for, the book we just did last year took 20 years to make, and we were literally working flat out on it for the last 5 years, something like that, round the clock. So by the time it's done, every word, every order of every image, every corner of every frame, because you've had to analyze it. And even the printing of the book, the paper, the weight, the varnish on the cover, if there is any, you can't bear to look at it anymore. So I tend to put it away. It's now out there for the people, and it belongs to the people. And then, maybe 5 years later, I pick up a book, in this case, 25 years later, 20 years later, I pick this up and I think, you know what? There's something in it. It's early work. I haven't really pushed contrast levels to the way I am now. And everything in this book was printed in my darkroom. I printed everything myself. So this is before we had our NASA scanner and scanned negatives. And this is just before I met Bob the Great, the legendary retoucher, who is the sort of core of our studio. So this was all done in the darkroom. And, so I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out who I am as a person. There's a lot of influences still in my work that I still feel I hadn't really worked out. But there's something really raw about it. And the cover, as I've said before, I love photo montage. And in other Q&As, we will get to more references for photo montage. But in this case, it's a tribute to Peter Blake. who did Sergeant Pepper, the album. And this is actually Reverend Al Sharpton's hand doing the power fist. But I thought if a nuclear bomb went off in contemporary culture, you'd get this giant mushroom cloud of all these random people, events, and cultures all fused together, because the mushroom cloud sucks everything up. So that's actually what this is. And you've got politicians, presidents, you've got Alexander McQueen's first ever photo shoot. I think it was the day before his first fashion show. We both just recently left college. And you've got, I used to have this plastic throwaway camera. I still have it upstairs, actually. And it had the Union Jack on it. It's like one of those tourist, things you buy in Piccadilly Circus. And I used to take a lot of pictures of people with it, because the lens is terrible. It's all plastic, and it distorted light in such a nice way. So I used to use it. So you've got a bit of Pamela Anderson wrapped in a flag, American flag, and then you've got a bit of the UK Union Jack there. And that's who I am, somewhere in the middle of those two things. But for all you book lovers, if you ever take the cover off and really study how a book is made, you will see something really cool. Inside the cover, the jacket, there's a secret gift. And it's all the diaries, all laid out. And the idea was that you can cut this into a long strip and pin it to your bedroom wall. And you get this long sort of horizontal journey through the entire story of the book. And the fun thing is that most people don't even know that exists, so they never even look at it. And they've got it secretly tucked away on their bookshelf. Okay, so Mike, are you feeling agile?
I'm feeling agile.
Yeah, he's giving me the thumbs up. Shall we do, what do we call it?
A little field trip?
Field trip. We're going to do an office field trip upstairs to the library. I've got some really interesting things to show you. All right, so Mike, I think, is going to detach you from the tripod, which I hate tripods, but in this case, we need a tripod. All right, you ready?
Ready, bro.
All right, let's do it. All right, we're going upstairs, folks, to my favorite place in the world. Mission control, you could say. All right. Now, we do listen to your advice, folks, and I do read all your comments. So does Michelle, so does Mike. And each episode, I'm really excited that we're starting from scratch here. At my ripe old age, I'm nearly 60, I'm 57, nearly 58. To be starting a YouTube channel is actually so exciting. It's like rebirth. And to learn new things again keeps us on our toes, keeps me young, keeps me curious. And it keeps you humble because you want to stay active. You know, we do our best work when we're against the ropes and we're struggling to find a solution in a time of almost panic. That's when we're at our best and most instinctive. So I do listen to all your comments. Now, some people are saying, don't overproduce it. Keep this Q&A really informal, which we're trying to do because that is the spirit of our channel. But other people are saying, oh, the sound was terrible. Can you fix the sound? So Mike has fixed me up with a mic today. So I hope the sound is better. Let us know and we'll read your comments. All right, so welcome upstairs again to my library. I thought I would begin, I'm going to show you two things. References, people keep asking me, especially young photographers, about nurturing your own style. Well, I don't think it's something you apply like icing on a cake. It's not decoration. if you're going to be a proper photographer, it's got to come from your core. So what does that mean? It means that there's no shortcuts. What you actually have to do is just absorb as much culture and inspiration as you possibly can, especially at the beginning of your journey. But honestly, you have to set a rhythm in your life that it's a beast that you have to feed with inspiration. And if you stop looking at art and culture and heritage all around you, then you are no longer feeding the beast. And especially if you're working really hard and constantly putting work out and finding solutions, you quickly burn out. So I decided at an early age that I'm going to feed the beast. It's almost like having a good meal. You've got to exercise, but you've got to eat well. It's the same thing. So all these books, this is design. All right, it's got technically nothing to do with photography on the surface. But if you think again, it's got everything to do with my photography. From here, this is all Le Corbusier. These. Now, this is just here. At home, I have 3 times the amount of books on Corbusier alone. These books are all Frank Lloyd Wright. And at my home library in Connecticut, I've also got 2 or 3 times as much. But these are the ones I have here for reference when I'm working. All these are architecture, design, themes. All these people are my heroes. Now, you would think, what's this got to do with photography? Well, it's about form, structure, color, space. It's about the relationship that human beings have with the world around us, human scale. All these things are hugely important to my work. So while I was getting particularly devoted to Corbusier and Frank Lloyd Wright, I was also looking at what's happening around them at the time when they were designing and breaking barriers. And of course, you know, we're talking about the 1920s, the 1930s, the birth of the modern movement. And obviously, as I'm getting involved with that, I'm looking at what else is going on in the modern movement. And I got really interested, particularly Le Corbusier was interested in the modern world. So he was fascinated by how a ship works. You know, a passenger liner is a perfect design, he would say. Everything in it works and everything is compacted in space. So, you know, if you're walking up the stairs, there's a white sort of handrail. It's the same type of handrail on the edge of the ship. If you're in your cabin, there's a little round window to look out of, and then there's a clip that brings down a little desk and it pushes it back up. So everything was really efficient, and there wasn't really a lot of room for decoration. And that idea of it being a machine for living in kind of inspired a lot of his buildings. People misunderstood it, that he thought of architecture as just mechanical and not human. That's not true. What he really wanted to do was think about human efficiency. So as I'm getting involved with all this, Corbusier was also interested in the style of, you could say, technology. And he was fascinated by, as I say, boats, but he was also fascinated by aeroplane design, car design. And I got interested in old radios and TV sets. Now, when I was a student at Central St. Martin's, we'd be set these really interesting projects. One project might be make an invitation for someone in the 1930s to come to have maybe come to a broadcasting station to be interviewed by Le Corbusier. So you have all these different elements and you have to put it together. So I'm going to show you something. So this is really cool. All right, I don't know if you can see it. I'll put it over here. Should I put it here?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Is that good? All right, so I made this. This is made out of balsa wood, cardboard. These two knobs here were from an old hairdryer from the 1930s. And this is all painted and varnished. Now, over here somewhere, I got really interested in paint finishes. A lot of buildings in, like the Carlisle in New York, they wouldn't always have real marble everywhere. So they would have this thing called fake marble, which is sort of hand painted to make it look like marble. Now, I don't know if you can see this. There, in this book, it's paint finishes, how to hand paint and stipple effects that look like marble or texture of things. Okay, so I got really interested in that. So I started painting my bedroom. I was 17, 18. Everything was made to look like Art Deco and marbled. So the door was painted as if it's like veins of marble and stippled. And then I got really good at it. So this is all stippled cardboard done with a sponge and ink. And if you lift this off, it was all made to look like Bakelite, which is the first plastic. I also made a sort of microphone, which is very Art Deco, like the first broadcasting microphone from the BBC in the 1930s at Alexandra Palace. So I was learning about design, and I was learning about not just the architects who inspired me, but the times they were living in. And of course, we all relate to the world around us. So, okay, so that's kind of that I wanted to show you. But then we often like to talk, people are asking me about photography books. So I think it's really important for the next generation of photographers to start building a library. And I don't think I'm being old-fashioned about it. There is something special about a book that you just don't have online. It's not the same experience. So there are some key books that I really recommend people should have, irrespective of your photographic style. Good stuff is good stuff. So I've got I want to pick something out over here. All right, this is a legendary book and a legendary photographer. Can you see that okay, Mike? Yep. Yeah? Bruce Davidson. This is perhaps one of his most famous books. It's called Subway. Bruce Davidson, legend photographer, and master sort of documentary photographer, studying the human condition. In this book, it's all raw color, and he spent years on the subway in New York, just walking around, capturing what was happening, particularly in the 70s and early 80s. And the pictures are raw, daring, brave, as New York was in the time. So if I put it over here, let me see, I want to move this out the way. Now, how's the lighting? Can you see it, Mike? Yep. All right, so I marked a few pages the other day because I was trying to think of some references to show you all. All right, look how beautiful that is. Is that clear? How is that? Shall I move that? Yeah. Is that like that? That's better, yeah. So, snowing, and he would shoot across the platform. You've got bits of typography, you've got a man there, and then you've got all this beautiful texture of the snow falling in and out of focus through the lens. And there's something really beautiful and raw about it. Okay, so these are guardian angels on the subway car. Right, there's some... now this is a very famous picture. I can't remember exactly what happened. I should read the story again, but I knew Bruce. I used to have a house in Woodstock, and there's a centre of photography in Woodstock, and I would teach there many years ago, and Bruce would as well. So we would do workshops. So I got to know him really well, and I remember him telling me something about that this guy is actually an undercover cop, and I think this guy had just tried to rob somebody on the subway car, and it turned into a life and death situation. So the undercover cop pulls a gun on the guy that's just tried to attack a woman. And Bruce just was there snapping away, and he caught the whole thing literally as it happened. This is not posed. So amazing raw energy in these pictures. Look how beautiful this is. Can you see that? Okay. 3 little kiddies looking out at Coney Island, graffiti everywhere, but there's something so beautiful about the colors, the sort of nasty neon lighting mixing with the lovely colors of their clothes from the late 70s, early 80s. And of course, you know, Bruce Davidson doesn't really care about lighting it, whether it's, you know, nice lighting or underexposed or overexposed. I mean, skin goes almost silhouette, so it allows like the clothes to really pop. It's just beautiful, so raw. This one is just great. Can you see that? Do you want me to tilt it to you?
That's good.
Is that better?
Yep, that's great.
You see the scars on this guy. You see all the graffiti on the walls becomes almost like Jackson Pollock, you know, and you get these pops of red. I mean, the color scheme is just incredible. And then, of course, the most important thing is the human connection. And you just see this beautiful look. I mean, there's sadness in the man's eyes, you know, like he knows something that we don't know. You know, life's hard. I remember I went to see Bruce once in his home, and he had a big print of this as you walked into his New York apartment. And I remember just falling in love with the color of it. I mean, look at her face. You just get this sort of shiny set of highlights, and everything has this sort of magenta, blue, purpley feeling. You know, you've got the deep blue there. Even her skin has a sort of magenta-y kind of purplish quality. And then you get this beautiful little flower popping in her hair. And again, it's just the highlights on her lips, highlights on her skin. I mean, he's kind of breaking rules. I mean, you'd never get pictures like this really today. People would think that's a kind of unprofessional photography. I just think it's just beautiful. And then the last picture I marked was, where is it? Oh, I love this picture. Look at the atmosphere of that. I mean, it's cinematic. It's a hot summer's day, somewhere in Brooklyn probably, on a platform. Sun's going down, so you get this warmth of tone, backlit, so you get the dress and the little bits of hair linking. There's a like summer breeze there, hard shadows at the end of the day. And it's just a quiet moment, the end of a day's work. Ladies are going home or maybe getting ready to go out for some cocktails. That's just beautiful. Bruce made a big impression on me. I remember there was something a little sad though. He did a lecture once at Woodstock, and I went, and I'm such a fan. And I heard he was doing a workshop a couple of weeks later. So I signed up to take the workshop myself. And I wanted to study with him. I wanted to be around him. I wanted to hear how he talks about life, and to have him for 3-4 straight days talking about the way he sees the world. I would have loved to have been around that and being exposed to that. But the sad thing is, I remember when he went down the list of names of people who had signed up, he saw my name on it, and he complained to the administrator of the workshop, and he said, I'm not going to do it if he's on the list. So it was very embarrassing, because I also taught a workshop in the same season for another course. So they said, well, he just wants to study with you. And he said, he's going to steal my ideas. And so it put the administration of the workshops in a really difficult position. And they had to approach me, and they said, we're really embarrassed about this, but you've got to pull your name off his list of students, because he won't do the workshop if you're there. So I pulled my name off. I was very sad. I wasn't going to steal anything from Bruce. What can I steal from Bruce? He's an absolute master and a legend. I just wanted to be around someone I really admired, to learn. Learning from someone is very different from stealing from someone. Learning is a beautiful thing. It's about sharing ideas together and passing on ideas so that the next generation can do something different with the ideas. People have shared with me when I was on the way up, and it helped shape my life. And I think the spirit of generosity, I've talked about this, I think, in our last episode. The spirit of generosity is so important to share. No one can steal anything from an artist. An artist just talks from their heart. They talk about what they really are feeling. That's nothing to steal. That's something to share. And other people will be inspired by that creation and do their own thing with it. So I'm not against Bruce. I don't hold it against him. I still love his work. He's still an inspiration. And I kind of understand it. And as I've got older over the years, I don't really judge anyone anymore. At the time, I was really upset. But now I look at it as, look, he just felt threatened. He felt vulnerable and he panicked. And that's okay. He's a human being too, and he has a right to do whatever he wants to do. But I was still very sad that I didn't spend enough time with him really being around a great man. All right, so should we go back downstairs, Mike? All right, we're going back downstairs. Do I need my glasses? No, I don't. Okay. There he is, reminding us of what we're dealing with in the world. Okay, so what else?
Fun little field trip.
Yeah, I hope it was interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
shifting gear a little bit to your photography, Tom asks, what do you look for in your images when you've finished a shoot or project to make the final selection? How much do you care about your artistic choice over how the subject will feel about it?
Oh, okay. Well, choosing the image is really, really important. And sometimes it's really easy. Something just pops out. Sometimes it's really hard. I have to admit, lately it's got harder and harder. I really struggle with it. It hurts going through lots and lots of images, finding, especially when they're similar. I don't know if maybe I'm not as disciplined as I used to be. I shoot more of the same thing. Maybe it's becoming more subtle, the differences, but it makes editing really, really hard. And sometimes you've got 5 images where someone's looking straight at the camera and you really are trying to think. I mean, they're almost identical. And to anyone else who looked at them, they would probably say, well, they're all the same, just choose one. But they're not all the same. They all have a slightly different side of someone's spirit. And I was looking at some on the plane last night, actually. I was doing that edit that you asked me to do. And there's one where the subject's, he's smiling a fraction more than the other, and there's a slight movement of his cheek. And in another one, there's a slight openness in the eye. Another one, the eye is a bit too intense. But it took me about 2 hours studying 3 pictures, trying to figure out what the difference is. It's almost like that game, Spot the Difference, you used to play when you were a kid. And it's exhausting. It hurts your eyes, hurts your brain. And I'm sure, there I was on the plane, and I had my laptop up. And I was doing this, and I was like closing it down, resting my eyes, and then opening it up. And then I was doing this, trying to block up, one eye so I could just focus on another. And the guy next to me was like, what the hell is this guy doing? It's really hard choosing the right image. In the end, it's a feeling. It's just a spirit. Some people think it's sorcery. I think it's a magical, mystical thing that you're tapping into someone's character, sometimes someone's soul. And It should be hard. Maybe it should be really difficult. This is not something you should take lightly, and you've got to just stay in the game and struggle with it until you've done it justice. And if someone's trusted me to sit for me, then they've got to know I'm going to fight for the best feeling I can get from that picture. So, but it's my feeling. Of course, then it's what does the subject think? And it's interesting with my subjects. I think a lot of the time it can be uncomfortable for them. Sometimes the truth is uncomfortable. The other day I watched back to back. I binged the whole Martin Scorsese series of films on Apple TV. It's brand new. It's incredible. And I really had the best time watching it. And he sat for me a long time ago. So he's one of my all-time heroes, and I'm going to do a whole thing on him one day for our live chat. But you know, it was he said something very interesting, that the truth is often uncomfortable, and it really can be uncomfortable, especially for my subjects to see themselves in this way. Sometimes they fall in love with the picture, and it's an instant love at first sight, and they see themselves in this way. Other times, you know, maybe I catch something that's just too close to home, and you know, they get a little, they just go quiet for a while. But I have to be honest, you know, I'm doing it for the art. I'm doing it for me. I'm the servant of the work. And if I keep true to the work, sometimes if they like it, that's wonderful, and it makes me very happy. But I'm not there to flatter people and make people feel happy. I'm there to be as true as I can to the moment that I felt, that I experienced. And sometimes, you know, that can be awkward. Sometimes it can be very inspiring. A lot of the times, particularly with the men I photographed, they don't like it, especially powerful men, but their wives will come forward and say, "Oh no, that's him." Or their kids will say, "That's him, you got him." So that's kind of funny. When I did Bill Clinton, I heard it was the other way around. He really liked the picture, but Hillary did not like the picture, for obvious reasons. In fact, Hillary still has not sat for me. I think she's one of the only people who has blatantly refused to sit for me. So Hillary, if you're watching this, come on, take the gloves off and let's just be human together. What are you afraid of? I've got no power whatsoever. Maybe you're afraid of yourself. I don't know. Come and join me, and I promise I'll look after you. All right, next question.
Yeah, so we've got someone tuning in today from Cambridge who says that they met you on the Professor Stephen Hawking shoot. So we just talked a little bit about your post-production process. Shifting gears to the prep for a shoot. You know, how do you prepare for shoots, and in particular Stephen Hawking, something that you know might have its challenges? How do you prepare for that?
Stephen Hawking was such a hard shoot. So whoever is tuning in,
it doesn't have a name, but
right. I remember arriving that day, and we were told to set up in his office, and his office was not the right space for a photo shoot. There wasn't any room. Some rooms you can convert really well, and others it's just a nightmare. And if that's all you've got, you've just got to go into production mode. And I remember as we arrived, there were some students, 2 or 3 students, waiting outside because they were fans of my work, I think. And I don't know if this is one of those former students. There won't be a student anymore. But if it is, hello. But they were waiting outside, and my first impression was, look, I'm here to do a job. I'm anxious. I want to get it right. I want to be respectful to young people, but today is the day I've actually all my attention is on the work, and I'm facing a difficult shoot. So I sort of passed them by. We went inside. I said hello, but we didn't really chat too much. We got inside and realized the room is just terrible. And there was light pouring in everywhere. There wasn't anywhere to set up a seamless. So I literally had to deconstruct his whole room. And I only had one assistant that day. So I suddenly realized I actually might need my friends outside. So I came out and I said, hey guys, I'm sorry I wasn't too friendly when I walked in, but I think I need your help.
By the way, he said I was one of them. I'm Dom.
Ah, okay. Well, hello there. Actually, you saved the day. And it's a really important lesson to treat people with respect. Firstly, because it's the right thing to do. But secondly, sometimes people can help contribute to something. So I grabbed my new friends, and as a team, we all tore apart his office. We cut up a seamless into 5 different pieces because there wasn't room for one rollout, and we were gaffer taping it to the walls, and it was peeling off, and then we had to keep putting it back up. And then eventually the professor comes in, and he's in this sort of giant, machine like wheelchair, and the floor had carpets, if I remember rightly. So, okay, here's a production nightmare. You've got paper seamless over a soft carpet, and then you have a wheelchair that's very heavy rolling over it. And of course, what's going to happen? All the paper starts pulling, coming away from the floor, tearing, as they turn him sideways about 4 times to get him right bang in the middle of the position. So while they're moving him, the paper's falling off, the light stand's falling over. And it was a really challenging shoot because he wasn't well, and his condition, and his nurses were very anxious. And every 15 minutes we had to leave the room, because I seem to remember something like they had to pump special chemicals into his lungs to open up his lungs so he could breathe. And all these pipes and syringes were hidden underneath this silk scarf that he's wearing. So he looks very dapper in the picture. But if you were in the room, you would have known that there's all these pipes going into this poor man's body. So my new friends that day saved the day. That picture would not have happened without the enthusiasm of young people who just wanted to be around something. And actually, if we're going to talk full circle, I realize, even as I'm talking to you now, that what Bruce Davidson, his first knee-jerk reaction to say no to me, was a similar knee-jerk reaction I had to my friends that day. And it wasn't out of malice. It was just when you're feeling insecure, your mind pressure, your mind closes, your heart closes, and it takes an immense amount of courage to keep that door open when you yourself want to go into self-protection mode. And if you do keep the door open, as I learned that day, I realized that actually my friends helped make one of the most important shoots of my life. There's no way I could have done that shoot with these lovely guys who helped out. So thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Dom.
Thanks for Dom, is it? Thanks, Dom, for really making that shoot come alive. You should say to yourself, you played a major role in that legendary picture. And I think it's the last photo shoot he did before he passed away. So it becomes very historic. So here's to opening up your heart, folks, being brave, especially to young people, and supporting them and letting them in. And it could just be that the young people are going to make you better. So that's what I say about that.
Yeah, cool. Well, I just wanted to say we've got people tuning in from all over the world, so just wanted to say hi to everyone. We've got Stefan from Germany. We've got someone here from Iran.
Wow.
Scotland, Brazil. So thank you, everyone. Dominican Republic. So just wanted to say welcome to the world, and so glad you guys are all tuning in here today with us.
I just can't believe we have people from all around the world.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Like, you know, photographers are very lonely normally. I mean, I know we have this strange life where we're traveling the world, meeting all these interesting people as portrait photographers. You have these extraordinary moments, but then the rest of the time, I'm on my own on a flight, editing pictures till, 2 a.m. I'm marking up images for retouching. There's so much pressure with post-production, and then it goes out, and then we're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And we very rarely get to meet and interact with our audience or our friends or, supporters, or even younger generation that's about to take the torch. So I just think it's amazing that you're all tuning in, and we do love reading all your comments, and I do spend quite a lot of time, maybe too much time, but quite a lot of time looking at Instagram at all your comments. I love seeing people's comments. It's this idea of feedback and exchange is really amazing. So please do keep writing your thoughts and actually elaborate a bit. Instead of just a thumbs up, tell me what you really think. What's going on in your brain? I like to know that. And it helps me kind of understand the times I'm living in as well by just hearing how you all feel about life.
Yeah. Well, we've also got Pooja joining here. They worked with us on the American Family film that we did recently. So got a two-part question from them. I'm going to focus on the second part. I think it's interesting. They write, as you've grown, do you ever look back and wish you made different choices in terms of which images you've chosen for people?
When I take the picture and I edit it and then it's done, it's pretty final. I mean, no. If I have doubts, it's all those doubts are taken and moved over to the next shoot. So I do something useful with the doubts. Regrets over the past, we all it's part of human nature to have them, but there's nothing you can do about the past. So, but you can do a lot about the future. You can really shape the future. And if you do have regrets that sort of nag at you, then why not take that negative energy and burn it as fuel to do something positive with it? I remember when I photographed Prince, I may have said this story before, but when I photographed Prince, I remember he arrived with his guitar, and he had a pick, and he was playing, and I remember looking at his hand, and the way his hand moved was so beautiful, so elegant, effortless, but it was a hand that had practiced so much. He was at one with the pick. And I thought, I'd love to take a shot of his hand holding the pick. And as many of you know, I do like photographing hands. Reverend Al Sharpton, I've photographed Buzz Aldrin's hand pointing up to the stars. It's kind of a theme. I'm very interested in the architecture of hands and the mystery of them, because you don't always know who it belongs to. I've not photographed Tyson's fist for obvious reasons. So I had this idea, and of course the shoot with Prince, it's going to go its own way. You can't really mold it. You're dealing with a mystical person, so it went its own way. And I remember as he walked away, I wish I had another 2 minutes, just to get a shot of his hand holding a pick. And I didn't do it, couldn't do it. He'd gone by then. But I got other things. So that idea stayed in my head. And it wasn't until recently, what is this, 20 years later or something, that I had the great privilege to work with Nile Rodgers, and the legendary composer, producer, musician. And for all those who don't know who he is, he wrote We Are Family, he wrote Like a Virgin, he produced Madonna, David Bowie, Let's Dance, Duran Duran, The Reflex. He worked with Daft Punk, and Pharrell Williams produces Beyonce. It's insane. When he came to the studio, I remembered the regret of Prince. Okay, I didn't get Prince doing that, but if I could get Nile Rodgers doing it, then it's rebirth of an idea, and it's rebirth of regret.
We have the picture. Do you want to?
Yeah, do you have it? Do you have it?
Nile Rodgers.
Yeah, show them the pic.
Yeah, hang on.
So
such a great picture.
Yeah, so Mike's going to dig through the pictures we had pre-selected. There it is. So Nile did it, and it's perfect because Nile's sound has inspired everyone from Brian Ferry, every musician. Noel Gallagher loves him, Johnny Marr, everyone loves Nile Rodgers. It's the sound of that percussive funk sound that only Nile Rodgers can do in this way. So it is perfect. Rebirth of an idea. Take a regret, do something good with it. And I will come back to Nile Rodgers at the end of this talk. Yeah. Because I've got something fun to say about that. Oh, and by the way, we made a film of it, and it's on our YouTube. So scroll back through the films we've been posting, folks, and you'll see the making of that picture. And which is also really exciting to be able to share this with you all, how we did it. But that picture literally comes alive.
I just wanted to point out, Malby Alvarado, you asked about getting books signed. Mike, if you want to throw up the QR code for the link to the kiosk on our website, you guys can find all of Platon's books there, and there is an option to buy signed copies. So feel free to check that out. So we're nearing the end. So in our last live session, we did the little game of who's on the box, right? Yeah. Every month we drop a new film, as you guys know. So we did look through our submissions, and we chose a winner from the last game. So, Mike, if you're ready, why don't we take him over to the viewing station, and we've got the poster pinned up. Platon's going to sign it live for you here. Our winner who guessed Condoleezza Rice last time was Janelle Moore. So, Janelle, if you're here, congratulations.
You win a poster, and we were trying to think, okay, which poster do we give Janelle? We're going to give you Pussy Riot because it's two powerful, strong women who spoke truth to power and who stood against a force of nature and come through as victorious. So I love this poster. It also comes with my Defenders book, but Janelle, today I'm going to sign the poster for you. Because you won this month's competition. So let's go and sign it. All right, come over here. So this is the viewing station. This is where we pin up prints when I'm trying to figure out, okay, how's the density on paper. It's always really good to print things on paper. But today we are doing something different for Janelle. So it's Janelle. Okay, so for Janelle. Okay, and I'm going to write fight for power. Big love from Platon. There we go.
Nice.
Well done, Janelle. Congratulations. All right, back to the desk. Can you imagine on CNN if if they suddenly went rogue and suddenly the newscaster walks off and the cameraman has to just follow them somewhere and no one was planning it. That would be brilliant. Maybe CNN should do that. Might make it a bit more interesting.
More fun, yeah.
For God's sake. Yeah.
I love our little field trips.
I do too.
It's nice to peek behind the curtain into your studio and the workings. Well, that segues nice into, at the end of all these sessions, we've kind of been teasing as to what's to come next month. So do you want to give our viewers a little clue as to who's next?
Right, we don't want to give the game away.
Right. But just a little clue as to
Mike,
who's next.
Can you show the picture? I know they've probably caught little glimpses of it, but the two hands together. All right. So here is a clue. This picture has never been seen. We're sharing it right now in front of you for the first time. I've literally just finished it. And as I said, I really am interested in hands. So look at this picture. Is it an arm wrestling match between two rivals? Or is it the hand of friendship and support, that when someone's feeling vulnerable, the other hand helps that person out? These are some of the biggest questions we ask ourselves at this time. Are we rivals or are we creative partners? The next big film we're going to drop is epic in its proportions. And it was one of the hardest things we've ever done as an office, one of the most challenging things, and it's probably the biggest production we were ever involved with. We've made a really cool film. It was the most amazing project to work on, and I am so excited to share it with you. So the clue is, who do these hands belong to? Two historic figures. And I think that's all I should say.
Yeah, we don't want to give too much away.
I don't want to give too much away. I'm telling you this. Before I sat down to talk to you, I went around the corner to grab a coffee, and I looked up, and they were painting. They were painting a giant mural from this project of one of my pictures on a building round the corner from me in my New York studio in Soho. So it was one of those magical moments that I was standing in the street looking up at this sort of 5-story mural of a picture that I took recently, that we all worked on in our office, and that's part of this project. So open your eyes, have a look around at what's going on in the media, and see if you can guess who these two people are in this project. And as with Janelle, fight the power, Janelle, Michelle will be announcing whoever guesses it right. Yeah,
we'll collect all the correct answers and just draw at random. So please do submit your questions either here in the comments. We'll be posting a teaser film leading up to the drop, so you can comment there.
Yeah.
And we'll announce the winner on the next YouTube Live.
And I'm going to dedicate the next YouTube Live to talking entirely about that project, I think, because it was so big.
Big part of it, yeah.
So if you do guess it right, who the subjects are, I would like you to also send in questions about that project. It's alive and kicking all around us right now, and we can do a deep dive into it as a case study.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Cool.
So I think we're coming to the end, are we?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much wrapping up. I know you wanted to share something with the audience before we close it out.
So we were talking about Nile Rodgers. And here's how generosity works. I met Nile Rodgers in Davos. We were both surrounded by power players, world leaders, security guards. It's the most unlikely place you would ever imagine two artists connecting and becoming friends. I spoke to his partner, Nancy, who is the most lovely lady. I spoke to her first because I figured she's probably the boss, and we got on like a house on fire. She introduced me to Nile. I invited Nile to this studio to have his portrait taken, and he agreed to come along. We made a film about it. We shared it with you. We became very, very good friends. Then Nile invited me to a historic event. He was hosting a special night at Abbey Road Studios in London, where the Beatles recorded all their songs. It's probably the most famous recording studio in the world.
Yeah.
It features on the Beatles' Abbey Road album cover with them walking across the zebra crossing. That's just outside the studio. So for all of you, you know I'm a massive Beatles fan. My son's name is Jude after Hey Jude. My dog's name is Sergeant Pepper. It's non-negotiable. I love the Beatles. And it's probably why I'm devoted to Oasis as well, to be honest, because they're the same. So Niall hosted this huge gala night for his charity. He has a charity called We Are Family, and it's dedicated to supporting young, emerging leaders around the world, to support them, to nurture their talents in different areas and genres. And so they did a special night with Nile Rodgers, Duran Duran, Johnny Marr of the Smiths, and Brian Ferry from Roxy Music. And the idea was to bring all these people together to share their stories, have Niall talking about his journey through music over the generations in front of a distinguished audience, and to try and raise money for his charity. And Nancy and Niall asked me to compare the night and to be the ringmaster. So I jumped at the chance. So I flew to London, met them all, and the event was just incredible. And I spent 2 days preparing for the event, doing rehearsals in Abbey Road Studios. And this is the studio where, as I say, the Beatles recorded, Pink Floyd recorded, Oasis have recorded. They even recorded the Goldfinger theme tune in this studio. And Studio 2, where all this happened, I mean, it hasn't changed since. I mean, all the doors are the original doors. It's like old, like 1950s furniture. So the day before the big event, they held a separate awards ceremony for music photography at Abbey Road, and I was really humbled that my picture of Niall's hand holding the guitar pick won an award, and this is the picture. David Bailey also won an award that night, and Anton Corbijn, legendary photographer, music photographer, also won an award. And I got to meet David Bailey's family, his lovely daughter and his wife, and I got to hang out with Anton Corbijn, and lovely guy, again, absolute master of his genre, incredible. So the next night we did this big night at Abbey Road with Niall trying to raise money, and it was very successful. And I got to meet Johnny Marr, who I've always loved, and Duran Duran. Got chatting, to them very, very briefly. We have a moment, and I looked around me, and I was looking at the architecture in this room and thinking of all the talented people who have made great art in this space, and how privileged I am to be standing in this space. This was the room where the Beatles recorded All You Need Is Love. It's also the main studio in Studio 1 is where Star Wars was recorded, all the music for Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark. All the biggest musical scores that you can think of were probably recorded in this room. And then I thought back to, okay, what was the art that actually happened? One song that was kind of written in this room was a song by the Beatles called We Can Work It Out. And I was listening to it the other day, and I always like to end I'm going to start ending these sessions with reading out the lyrics to a song. Last month, I read out the lyrics to Live Forever by Oasis, because I'd just seen Oasis around that time, and so had Michelle. This month, I'm going to read the lyrics out to We Can Work It Out by the Beatles. Now, I've set you all some homework. You should go and listen to this song, because I used to listen to it and think, oh, it's a great little pop song. But if you listen to the words, there's something magical happening in the words of this song. And it kind of sums up the times we're living in and everything that I passionately believe in. And it's about reconciliation and the fact that we're all at each other's throats. We're all so divided. We're all so suspicious of each other. We've become so tribal. And this song calls us to come together, to talk it through, to listen to each other and find common ground. Here we go. Try to see it my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I can't go on? While you see it your way and run the risk of knowing that our love may soon be gone. We can work it out. We can work it out. Think of what you're saying. You can get it wrong and still think that it's all right. Think of what I'm saying. We can work it out and get it straight. Or we could say goodnight. We can work it out. We can work it out. Life is very short, and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend. I have always thought that it's a crime, so I will ask you once again. Try to see it my way. Only time will tell if I am right or I am wrong. While you see it your way, there's a chance that we might fall apart before too long. But we can work it out. We can work it out. That song was recorded in the room where I stood. And I was there because of generosity. And that song sums up the spirit of our times, that we have to talk to each other, share ideas, and be curious. And a Greek philosopher once said, you've got 2 eyes, 1 mouth. You should see twice as much as you speak. You've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should listen twice as much as you speak. So listen to your opponent. And you might just find out they're not your opponent, they're your creative partner. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Michelle, for all your help.
Thanks,
Mike.
You got it.
And thank you all for your kind comments and your enthusiasm. Let's keep building this channel. These are the romantic days when we're small. This thing's going to be massive. And for all of you who are part of our family at the moment and subscribing, I want you to remember that you were part of something at the very beginning and you helped shape it. And in time, this thing's going to be so bloody big. And you'll be able to say, well, I was there at the very beginning and I used to send in questions and we'd give them advice on how to work the microphones and all that stuff. So I'm loving this process. Thanks for tuning in. Stay happy and stay positive and stay curious. See you next time.